Reasons why older people choose to be alone and are happy about it. Introduction. In this video, we explore a deeply personal and often misunderstood aspect of aging: the decision to be alone. For many older people, solitude isn't something to be feared or pitied. It's a choice, a lifestyle that offers peace, freedom, and a kind of fulfillment that can be difficult to explain. As society rushes around with constant social interactions, commitments, and noise, there is a growing number of older individuals who seek the quiet of their own company. This video uncovers 9 profound reasons why older adults consciously choose to live alone and, in fact, find happiness in this choice. As you watch, I invite you to reflect on your own relationship with solitude, whether you are younger or older, and consider how the reasons I'm about to share might resonate with you. Because, as we'll discover, being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It can mean a rich, vibrant, and deeply fulfilling way of life. 1. Reflection and personal growth. One of the first reasons older people choose to live alone is the gift of reflection. Solitude creates the perfect environment for personal growth, an opportunity to sit with one's thoughts, revisit memories, and come to terms with life's journey. When you're constantly surrounded by people, it's easy to be distracted, to drown out the inner voice that needs to be heard. For many older adults, solitude offers the chance to process years of experiences, joys, regrets, milestones, and mistakes. It's a time to gain wisdom from their past, to see patterns in their lives they may not have noticed before. This kind of deep reflection can only happen in the stillness that comes with being alone. 2. Freedom from societal expectations. As we age, the weight of societal expectations can feel heavier. There's a constant pressure to fit into roles, whether it's being the provider, the caregiver, or even the social butterfly. Older people who choose to live alone often feel a profound sense of liberation from these roles. They are no longer constrained by the need to please others or conform to expectations that no longer resonate with who they are. Personal story. Take the example of Elaine, a 67-year-old woman who spent much of her adult life as the primary caregiver for her family. From the time she was married, she dedicated herself to raising 3 children, caring for her aging parents, and maintaining a household for her husband, who worked long hours. For decades, she played the role of the perfect wife and mother, always putting others' needs before her own. But as her children moved out and her husband passed away, Margaret found herself alone for the first time in over 40 years. At first, the solitude was jarring. She didn't know what to do with the silence or the sudden absence of constant demands. But slowly she began to embrace her new reality. For the first time, she could make decisions solely based on her desires. She spent her mornings sipping coffee by the window, her afternoons walking through the park, and her evenings reading novels she had always wanted to but never had time for. Margaret realized that she no longer had to meet anyone's expectations but her own. This sense of freedom brought her a happiness she never knew was possible. For many elderly individuals, solitude represents emotional freedom. They no longer need to conform to the expectations placed on them by family, friends, or society. They are free to live life on their own terms, whether that means spending an entire afternoon reading, taking a nap in the middle of the day, or enjoying a hobby they once didn't have time for. There's no one to impress, no obligations to meet. 3. Embracing simplicity and minimalism. Solitude brings with it a desire for simplicity. After years of navigating the complexities of life, whether it's raising a family, building a career, or managing finances, many older adults long for a simpler, more minimalist existence. Living alone allows them to strip away the non-essentials and focus on what truly matters. Imagine an older woman who has spent much of her life taking care of a bustling household. Now, in her solitude, she relishes the quiet of her home. Her days are uncomplicated, filled with small, meaningful tasks like tending to her garden or knitting by the window. There's no rush, no chaos, just the gentle flow of time. The simplicity of her lifestyle is deeply satisfying, allowing her to focus on the things that bring her joy. Simplicity also extends to material possessions. Many older people living alone choose to downsize, getting rid of things that no longer serve a purpose. Their lives become more intentional, filled with items and experiences that bring them peace rather than clutter. This minimalist approach isn't just about having fewer things, it's about creating space for what really matters: peace of mind, calm, and contentment. 4. Rediscovering long-lost passions. One of the unexpected joys of solitude is the rediscovery of hobbies and passions that may have been set aside during the busy years of raising a family or pursuing a career. When older people live alone, they often find themselves with the time and space to dive back into activities they once loved. Take, for instance, an elderly man who spent most of his life working long hours to support his family. Now, with retirement and the quiet of living alone, he has rediscovered his love for painting. Each day, he spends hours at his easel, creating works of art that bring him a sense of purpose and fulfillment. In his solitude, he is reconnecting with a part of himself that had been dormant for years. These hobbies are more than just pastimes. They are a way of reconnecting with one's identity. When we are alone, we have the freedom to explore our interests without the distractions or obligations that come from living with others. For many older people, this is a time of rediscovery, a second chance to pursue the passions they once loved. 5. Strengthening the connection with nature. In solitude, many older people find themselves drawn to nature. Without the constant chatter of human interaction, they can immerse themselves in the natural world, which offers a kind of peace and stillness that is hard to find elsewhere. Nature becomes a companion, offering solace and beauty in the simplest of forms. Personal story. Take the example of John, a retired teacher who had lived in the city for most of his life. After decades of teaching in noisy classrooms and bustling city environments, John made the decision to move to a small rural town after retiring. He found a modest home surrounded by trees and hills, far from the noise and chaos he had become accustomed to. Each morning, John walks through the woods near his home, listening to the sounds of nature, the rustling leaves, the chirping birds, the soft breeze. One day, during a particularly long walk, he stumbled upon a small stream. He sat by the water's edge and watched it flow, feeling a deep sense of peace wash over him. In that moment, Walter realized that this solitude, this connection to nature, was what he had been longing for all his life. The stillness of nature mirrored the stillness he had found in himself. Now, these walks are a daily ritual, offering him not only physical exercise but emotional and spiritual nourishment as well. Spending time in nature also offers health benefits, both physical and emotional. Many older people who live alone report feeling more connected to the world around them when they spend time outdoors. Whether it's gardening, walking, or simply sitting on a bench and observing the world, nature provides a sense of grounding and tranquility that enhances their overall well-being. 6. Reclaiming privacy and control. Privacy is a luxury that often gets lost when living with others. For older adults, the ability to control their environment and maintain their privacy is a key reason why they choose to live alone. There's no need to explain their actions or justify their choices. They are free to live exactly as they please. This sense of control is empowering. Older people living alone can create a space that is entirely their own, free from the influences or demands of others. They decide when to wake up, when to eat, and how to spend their time. This autonomy is not just about logistics, it's about reclaiming a sense of agency over their own lives. For many, this control over their environment allows them to feel safe and secure in a way that wasn't possible when living with others. Whether it's the way they arrange their furniture or the rituals they engage in throughout the day, their home becomes a sanctuary where they can fully be themselves. 7. Healthier, more meaningful relationships. Contrary to the belief that solitude leads to loneliness, many older people who live alone actually find that their relationships improve. With the space to reflect on who truly matters in their lives, they often find that the relationships they maintain are richer, more meaningful, and free from the obligations that come with cohabitation. When they do interact with family or friends, these interactions are often more intentional and fulfilling. Without the daily pressures of living together, the time spent with loved ones becomes a gift rather than an obligation. They are able to focus on the quality of the relationship rather than the quantity of time spent together. 8. Spiritual growth and self-discovery. Solitude often leads to spiritual growth. For many older people, living alone offers a chance to deepen their spiritual practice, whether that's through religious rituals, meditation, or simply quiet contemplation. In the stillness of their own space, they can explore their beliefs, ask deeper questions, and find peace in their spirituality. This spiritual journey can be deeply personal. For some, it's about reconnecting with a faith they may have drifted from during the busyness of life. For others, it's about discovering new spiritual paths or simply finding peace in the silence of their own thoughts. One elderly man, for instance, might spend his mornings in quiet meditation, reflecting on his life and the universe. These moments of spiritual connection bring him a sense of peace and fulfillment that he never experienced during the hectic years of his career. 9. Creating a legacy. Finally, solitude offers older people the chance to focus on the legacy they want to leave behind. Without the distractions of daily life, they can think deeply about how they want to be remembered, what impact they've had on the world, and how they can continue to contribute in meaningful ways. Whether it's writing memoirs, recording family stories, or creating something tangible like artwork or a garden, many older people find joy in the act of creating a legacy. This process of legacy building is not just for future generations, it's also a way for them to make sense of their own lives and find peace in the knowledge that they have made a difference. Conclusion. In this video, we've explored the 9 profound reasons why older people choose to live alone and how this choice brings them happiness. Solitude is not a state of loneliness, but rather a space for reflection, growth, and personal fulfillment. Older adults who embrace solitude often find that it offers them freedom from societal expectations, a chance to reconnect with nature and their passions, and the opportunity to leave behind a meaningful legacy. As you reflect on your own life, consider the lessons we can all learn from those who choose solitude. In the quiet of their own space, they found a kind of peace and joy that many of us spend our whole lives searching for. Solitude, when embraced, can be a powerful and deeply fulfilling way to live.